I really don't want to make this video, but I have to because this can affect, well, the way that we not only consume our content, but also how we create our content as well. Hey, it's Enigma, and recently YouTube ended up getting reached out by the UK government in an effort to try to push out more mainstream media. That is their official wording, and this is really bad because this means that, well, while they're pushing out, well, their mainstream media news outlets, a lot of smaller creators, heck, even a lot of major creators are going to get their content pushed down on the algorithm. The UK government is running a public consultation called Watch This Space, a new strategic direction for UK media. The proposal includes mandatory changes to how content is discovered on YouTube. This could direct audiences away from your channel. This is bad because this means that what they're trying to do is they're trying to push, well, more channels like the BBC, ITV, Channel 4, well, all of these news outlets, and they're trying to downrank other content creators. And the reason why this is very important to talk about is because not only does this affect people in the UK, but it also affects us here in the US. This means that, well, the UK is going to be pushing out their content towards American channels, and they're not going to be able to do much. Well, let's see. Reducing user exposure to diverse content and independent creators, mandating promises, threat to reach of channel growth, undermining creator audience bond. This is very alarming, especially since all of this is set to take place at the beginning of August of this year. And here's what makes this even worse. So YouTube themselves have started reaching out to the public to try to help them combat this, because what they're doing, or what the UK government is trying to do, is they're trying to stop people from talking about this. They're trying to silence people from bringing this topic into light, which is a big no-no. I don't understand why the hell they think they could get away with this, especially since we've already seen the Streisand effect happen many times. For those who don't know, the Streisand effect is when you try to silence something, and as a result, more and more people talk about it, and more people become aware of it. And that's exactly what YouTube has done. They're trying to get more people, more eyes into this, and to try to push back everything that the UK government is trying to do. And, well, the UK right now is in a state of complete chaos, which also brings me to the next topic that I want to talk about, which is age verification. Now, in the UK and in Australia, they've already implemented some type of mandatory age verification, meaning in order to access the internet, you need to hand over your personal ID. Now, this is Cyber Safety 101. Never hand out any of your personal information. Don't hand out your birthday, don't hand out your address, don't hand out your phone number, don't hand out anything that is yours. But I guess they might have just like taken that cyber safety in one ear and then just pushed it out the other, because the UK government has done exactly that. They are now asking for your ID, and it's blowing up in their faces. And you would think that this is just a problem for the UK, but believe it or not, it's already starting to spread right here in the US. So here in the US, they ended up pushing forward with something called the Kids Act, or the KOSA, which is the Kids Online Safety Act. This has been heavily pushed out, especially by big internet companies, and here's what they're trying to do. They're trying to take people's personal information, their ID cards, their date of birth, anything that they can use to try to, at the very least, well, make the internet safe. However, this is a terrible idea, because by doing this and forcing people to hand out their IDs, they are intentionally putting so many people in danger. And the Kids Online Safety Act is one of the many packages that was placed into the Kids Act. This is important, especially if you have kids of your own. By complying with this and handing over your ID card, you're pretty much just saying, hey, this is where I live and I have kids, so take a look. This indirectly does the exact opposite of what they're trying to do. They're not trying to protect kids. They're trying to endanger them. This created a problem that never existed in the first place. In fact, they're literally trying to do some form of mass surveillance. What makes this even worse is that the House has already passed this, and well, now it's up to the Senate to decide whether or not they're going to implement this. And this is where, thankfully, we can come in and make our voices heard. So if you want to fight back and if you really want to protect yourself along with anybody else, the first thing that you need to do is get vocal, spread the word, make sure that this is known to as many people as possible, and contact your local senators. Contact your senators, tell them why this is a bad idea. This is literally a Trojan horse for mass surveillance. Not only is this a violation of freedom of speech, this is also putting yourself, your loved ones in danger, and not to mention, this also spreads out the possibility of identity theft. And literally, as of a few days, as I'm recording this, the United States government got hacked. And I will remind you, they're the ones that want to do the ID age verification. So by them getting hacked very easily, how exactly can you trust them with your personal security? Thankfully, Reclaim the Net has written down a pretty good post as to how you can say no to this. So, like I said, share the arguments. And also, remember, if you're going to argue back politely. Don't try to feed into their narrative, trying to make you look like a bad guy. Don't ever do that. In fact, do the opposite. Be polite. I really like this post from Stop Killing Games. The first, it was chat control, then they wanted age verification, now it's device scanning, and next up is telling what you're supposed to watch. No, the stuff anybody warned about totally isn't the stuff that's happening. This is a Big Brother reference, and it's sad because, well, this is starting to shape up, but thankfully we can fight back for this, and there's other things that you can do to protect yourself in this, well, for this upcoming change. The first thing that you need to do is, well, like I said, contact your senators, tell them why this is a bad idea, and encourage them to vote against this. Do not let the Kids Act pass at all. The next thing that you need to do is, well, something that will require you to be a bit more tech savvy, but it's pretty easy to do, is get yourself something called a ghost phone. This is a Google Pixel 8 Pro that I completely de-googled, and I installed Graphene OS into this. What this does is this creates a sandbox environment so that no matter what you do, especially when it comes to tech giants trying to dig up as much information as they can to sell you products, they can't do that with a device like this. The next thing that you need to do is stop using Google Chrome, and while we're at it, stop using Microsoft Edge and Opera GX, or pretty much any Opera products in general. Stop using these web browsers and instead look into using Brave. Brave is probably the best web browser that you can use, and also LibreWolf. LibreWolf is a hardened security version of Mozilla Firefox, and it's honestly one of the best things that you can, well, one of the best browsers that you can use along with Brave. And if you really, really want to keep yourself tightened with your security, you should look into using Tor, but I'm going to warn you right now, Tor is very slow. But going back to the subject, which is, well, the internet, make your voices heard. Don't let the UK push out any of their propaganda or anything involving mainstream media. Get yourself out there and start speaking out against this influx of censorship coming from the UK. And here in the US, call your senators, tell them to vote no to the Kids Act, and tell them exactly why. Again, this encourages endangerment of others. This encourages identity theft, and this encourages mass surveillance, which is a violation of privacy. And go analog. Start getting individual devices that you can use in order to start storing all of your stuff locally instead of relying on, well, the internet. Anyways, that's the end of the video. I really hope you all enjoyed it. If you did, leave a like and also subscribe to my channel and turn on post notifications so you never miss out on a video or a live stream. And if you would like to help support the channel, check out buymecoffee.com/Enygma. Links for everything will be down in the description box below. And as always, this is Enygma Shooting Star, signing out.